plenty of them. Sarah Corker, BBC News.
Donald Trump is on his way home after completing the final leg of his 12-day tour of Asia in the Philippines. Before leaving, he met with the Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, where they discussed trade and the fight against ISIS. The two leaders issued a joint statement promising to continue mainstreaming the human rights agenda. But the meeting was met with protests by those angry about Mr. Duterte's hard line against drug traffickers and users, and Mr. Trump's apparent lack of criticism of those actions. Also at the summit, the US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson met Myanmar's de facto leader Aung San Suu Kyi. He's due to visit Myanmar on Wednesday. It's thought he's likely to raise the plight of hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims who fled Myanmar and accuse the country's military of carrying out atrocities. Well, I've been speaking to our correspondent in Manila, Howard Johnson, and asked him what he made of what President Trump had to say as he left the Philippines.
Well, in the last hour or so, we've heard from Donald Trump himself, from journalists on board the plane heading back to Hawaii, heading back to the United States. He said that he actually skipped the East Asia Summit, the important summit here at Asean today, because it was running behind schedule. But when he made the plane, he said, when he got onto the plane, he told journalists that he'd made a lot of good friends while he'd been here in Asia. He talked about trade as well. He said that trade would improve for the United States because over a period of years, they would be treating us differently than in the past. He said they'd make $300 billion worth of equipment sales as a result of this visit. And finally, talking about North Korea, he said, I think that talking about allies in the region, that they will get their acts together to deal with North Korea.
Tell us more about the summit. What does it actually achieve, do you think?
Well, for Donald Trump, he's been getting across this message of his about the Indo-Pacific. This is the movement away from China being the power base in the region, a pivot towards the United States, allied with India, Australia and Japan. For him, that was the big seed that he wanted to sow at this meeting, and he's been talking to leaders over the last couple of days about that.
Tell us more about Aung San Suu Kyi. She's met various world leaders there. She's also met Rex Tillerson, the US Secretary of State. Has she met with any direct criticism over the Rohingya crisis?
Yeah, this morning Rex Tillerson met her, and journalists threw a question to her after that meeting, which she didn't respond to. Later on, there were comments from Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister. He said that he was looking for a sustainable and just solution to the problem with the Rohingya Muslims. Also, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he said that they need to get better humanitarian access into Myanmar. Direct criticism, we might see some more of that as the East Asian Summit comes to an end, but so far just the Canadian Prime Minister and the UN Secretary General really being outspoken on this issue.
Howard.